On weigh-in this morning, Opie Bosson's back, expertly guiding Ladies Man to Group 1 glory in the Mufhasa Classic. Babylon Berlin jumps, leads and leaves them playing catch-up, proving she's on target for a big campaign. Sethito adds even further to the 3-year-old puzzle for Wexford, blitzing them in the Bonecrusher. And Emily's in Hong Kong, getting up close and personal with a Kiwi-bred sprinting superstar who's all set to shine on the big stage. Very good morning to you on the weigh-in on Sunday morning after another excellent Saturday's racing. Of course, Ladies Man, as I mentioned, Sethito excellent, so many storylines to unpack, so many horses to follow as well. Aidan Rodley's with us this morning. Jane Ivel, morning to you. You were at Trentham yesterday and there were some very, very good performances highlighted by Ladies Man. Yeah, no doubt. It was actually really wonderful to be back on track yesterday. I really enjoyed it. The weather played its part. I thought Trentham, the surface, the track played brilliantly. You could win from just about anywhere. There's a number of horses right throughout the card that I think you can follow with confidence through the meeting. So I'm actually genuinely excited about a number of horses that came out of the meeting. Of course, highlighted by the wonderful win of Ladies Man. Opie Bosson goes to 99 Group 1 wins. But not only did we have fantastic racing at Trentham, Aidan, it was supported by a wonderful card at Ellerslie as well. Yeah, it sure does. And one thing, and I know you're going to talk about it later on, Jane, but geez, our depth in our sprinting ranks. And that was sort of illustrated yesterday by what was a really good running of the Concorde, and you know, the first 6 home, you know, the field basically all ran well. Then we've got horses such as Platinum Attack, who ran so well at Trentham, Mystic Park, who ran so well at Riccarton, Luberon, who's right there. We've got some really good sprinting ranks, but like you say, the spotlight was firmly on that Group 1, and wonderful to see Ladies Man do it in that manner. Yeah, did it in style, all right. We'll talk to Allan Sharrock shortly, but first, let's take you back to yesterday and see how Ladies Man did it in style.
It's Group 1 time. We're ready to go. The TAB Mufhasa Classic. We're ready, set, gates are back, they're away. El Vencedor missed it. He was last out of the gates and going back as well as Matt Scott. Ladies Man improving over on the inside a bit, followed by Pearl of Alsace. Town Cry, the leader, about to straight it up. She's caught upon now, she's a link. Here's La Creek though, ambling up in the centre of the track. Further back of the field, perfect scenario, but La Creek let loose at the 250. She took the lead from perfect scenario. Ladies Man is coming with a big run. Here comes Ladies Man, coming after La Creek. It's La Creek, Ladies Man is rocketing home. 99 Group 1 wins for Opie Bosson, and Ladies Man takes the TAB Mufhasa Classic.
You wanted a 10, you probably got it.
10.5, that one.
Like he travelled nicely, and it was just a matter of getting off and getting out into open space.
Yeah, Opie's just so silky, mate. When you've got him on in a Group 1, a lot of my Group 1s, Opie and Macca and the boys have been on lead. You need a good rider.
Yeah, he's an amazing trainer, and the blinkers going on today was ideal. And to credit to Michael's horse, she kicked again when I got to her, so I thought I was going to go past her quite easy. So it was a really tough battle. Gee,
the water must be different up your way.
I think we're going pretty well at the moment. A lot of luck going our way.
Yeah, well, you need a bit of luck, but you also need a good horse and a great trainer.
Oh, definitely. Alan's perfect training today, and the horse and jockey and the whole combination was pretty outstanding on the day to beat La Creek, who was a good horse, and we had to fight hard to get her.
Yeah, perfect training indeed, and Allan Sharrock has been generous enough to join us on his Sunday morning. Allan, congratulations, brilliant performance from your horse. Obviously, we saw at Tauranga he was so unlucky, but he was still racing very well then. So how much confidence, despite being unlucky, did that run give you heading into this?
Yeah, I've sort of stated to the press and to quite a few people that if Opie gave me a 10, and some of the better chances got 6s and riding performances, that we could win. And I think Nabba gave his connections a 10 as well. He found the 1-1 from a wide draw. So it was race on. And yeah, I was proud of Brian, as he's affectionately known in the stable. He got the job done.
Congratulations, Allan, and we do all know you as a grand final trainer. You've had to be at your very best to get him to win this grand final. Tell us a little bit about what the preparation has been like for him, because it actually hasn't been smooth sailing, has it?
No, Jane, I come back from Melbourne positive that I'd probably win the Celt in a couple of the earlier races, and it all turned the bad way with a hoof problem that led to other issues, and thankfully Emma and vets and manipulators, and it took a lot of patience. We had to back off. I got pretty frustrated, to say the least, and Emma was going through all that because I had a good horse, and then it all went to skew with. But, you know, we played the long game and we've got him back, and we've got a Group 1 again. So very proud of the horse.
One thing, Allan, there's a lot of similarities to your previous win in this race with Kawi. Both of them 7-year-olds, both of them coming through Tauranga to win this race. Did you sort of tailor it that way to make sure that you were going through Tauranga to get to the nowadays the Mufhasa Classic?
Yeah, it's always been an option. I've had no luck in that Tauranga race. You know, Kawi got beaten and Ladies Man got beaten, but it's a good stepping stone to the old Captain Cook. I had to keep this horse fresher, Aiden, because he's a genuine 2,000-metre horse or even a 1.5-mile horse. But I knew a good mile was in him, and the time to put the blinkers on were at a mile, where with a solid pace he couldn't over-race. He got on the chewy slightly middle stages, but they ran 35-4, so they weren't dilly-dallying, and with Opie's silky hands, it just kept him on an even keel for us.
We talked specifically about the race yesterday. You mentioned the wonderful ride by Opie Bossum. Your strike rate you have when you combine with him is incredible. It's over 30%. He's a rider that really clicks with the way that you train and clicks with your horses. What were you thinking as the race unfolded? Did it set up the way you expected?
Yeah, Jane, I watched it with Emma, as I always do, and, you know, he's just got an uncanny knack of being in the right place at the right time. Everything's done, as I say, silky. It's done easily, and it doesn't unbalance your horse. Even the viewers, he got to the front at the 200-metre mark, and Opie let Ladies Man glide across to the other horse so he could see her in the blinkers, because he sort of buttoned off when he got it to the front wide out. That's something clever riders do. That made him more competitive when he saw her in his vision. He kicked again on the line, and yeah, Opie put the stick away sort of 20 yards off and drove him through the line. But yeah, we've been good mates for a long time, me and Opie. As an apprentice kid, he came down and stayed with me and wouldn't go home. And Steve was ringing me, get that boy on a bus, get him home. And Opie said, no, I want to stay here. But we've been good mates for a long time, and it's good to have him on.
One thing you talked about there, Allan, just about that 1,600 metres, you know, we know he's a quality horse, but it takes a decent middle distance staying type horse to win over 1,600 metres. Did you have to change the preparation to, you know, to get him, you know, still sharp enough to be winning at a mile?
Yeah, you just back off the work a wee bit. He's a Z Aiden, naturally dour and tough. So we were probably looking for leg speed in this one. And Emma rides all his work and does a terrific job. It's just picture perfect when they're together. But everything actually went good coming into this race. I was fairly positive when I got a low draw and had the assistance of Opie. I thought we had quite a few things in our favour.
Where to next with him? I know that the Zabel Classic is the obvious next step, but I'm really keen to know what the future plans you've got for him. You've taken him to Melbourne once before, had ambitions for a Melbourne Cup. What do the ambitions look like now?
Yeah, well, Opie rode him in the old Queen Elizabeth the last day of the carnival last year when he ran second, and you got to listen to boys that know what they're doing, and he said he's too brilliant to be a two-miler. And if you don't listen to Opie, well, you're a fool. He'll go the Zabel Classic, Jane, then the Wakanui, and probably the Bonecrusher. I think with the money that's here in New Zealand now, a lot of the trainers and owners are quite comfortable sitting in New Zealand because there is good money to be made. And if we've got a good product, people come to the races, and the TAB turnover is always up. So, yeah, I think we're tracking the right way.
He was still running through the line very nicely, so on that Zabel Classic you must be pretty positive about his chances for that. $6 in the market I think he is at the moment.
That's very good money, Guy, isn't it? And he doesn't mind Ellerslie either. But no, that's more a target race than this one. He, you know, 2,000 is his pet distance. I suppose the big decision we've got to make is whether blinkers stay on or blinkers come off.
Oh.
Yeah, and a little bit of that has to do with Opie. So we'll make that decision in the next 2 weeks.
Good man, alrighty. Well, we look forward to seeing him roll around again. Massive congratulations to you, Allan, and thanks for jumping on this morning.
Thanks, Dean.
Good man, Allan Sharrock there with us on weigh-in. It was an excellent performance from Ladies Man, and we just mentioned the Zabeel Classic, and I think we can take a look at the market for that, of course, on Boxing Day at Ellerslie. Snazzy Tavi is the favourite still at $3.50 now, opened at $3 out to $3.50. El Vencedor, obviously, we saw that running yesterday out to $6. La Creek, very good performance that we'll unpack again shortly. There at $6 alongside Ladies Man, who's in from $21 and a bunch of them around that $10 or $12 mark as well. Alrighty, well, we've talked to Allan Sharrock about the race, but let's bring in Jane and Aidan at the wall to just unpack it a little bit more and how it unfolded.
I think there's a fair bit to take in, isn't there, Aidan, particularly at the start, because there's no doubt there were winners and losers out of the barrier in terms of the way they came out.
Yeah, and one of those is El Vencedor. We expected him to be rolling forward, but he just didn't help himself. Punchera here really did help himself. He got into a beautiful position, and obviously there was real intent from Michael McNabb on La Creek. He's been able to go up, cross, perfect scenario, who was looking for the trail at that point, but just couldn't get him because he's a doozy, he's kicked up. In the end, La Creek's gone up, sat outside Town Crier, and then we've seen El Vencedor go around and give him cover. Just a perfect scenario, dare we say it, the wrong horse, but for Michael McNabb, because he'd done really no work. And the more I watch this drone footage, he's just given this horse a perfect ride.
First couple of furlongs out of the barrier, they all find their positions, and for the most part, they get themselves into some really nice spots. Talking specifically about the winner and Ladies Man and the ride of Opie Bossom, there's a key point in the running where he gets off the fence.
Absolutely. So here's Punchera with Mediana Hudson riding. So he's looking at this point, and here's perfect scenario. He's just pushed her out a little bit, and at this point, Mediana's thinking, what do I need to hold there? She's been exposed 3 wide. He's been able to track forward. He had a choice of either following perfect scenario through or coming around them both. He's opted for the latter just to be absolutely safe. He's not only given himself the right time to get off the fence, but he's also exposed Punchera for just an absolute perfect ride. As Allan Sharrock said, silky. And
there have been a couple of unlucky, you know, hard luck stories in behind with horses like Marley Ston and He's a Doozy.
He's a Doozy was just looking for that inside run on the with Town Crier, couldn't get it, so Tina's had to come around, and obviously a really big run from Marley Ston, who they had no real choice. They had to go back, take their medicine, otherwise they'd have had to do something similar to what we saw from La Creek, that type of ride, but he was hitting the line as well as any. I think with a bit of luck, he could have run into the top 3.
I think basically what we've seen, Guy, is some tremendous rides, both winning rides and beaten rides in our Group 1 feature yesterday.
And just one thing I just want to mention on that as well, Mediana Hudson, I know we've sort of talked about her sort of maybe getting bullied a little bit by Opie Bossom. She's run 4th in a Group 1. She's taken advantage of a horse who jumped out of the gates really well, and for her, that's her best result in the Group 1. So, you know, she's got to just take it for the moment and really enjoy that result.
Well, she is included in our beaten connections, starting with Michael McNabb, who was, of course, on board La Creek.
Yeah, proud. She couldn't run any better.
Really good. We got a really good run from the draw, come out at the right time. He's done his very best. He always tries so hard.
Yeah, he jumped really well like he does. He was a bit strong in the running, but we pulled him out a bit early and got him rolling, and he ran home great.
He won a really good race. I just needed to start rolling a bit sooner, and I didn't get the run.
Yeah, look, I can actually probably make a case to say that he should have nearly won, but that's sort of him. That's the story of his life. But he's gone really well, and look forward to bringing him back here for a Thornton Mile, where he'll carry 55 kilos, and I think that's his chance of winning a big one.
Yeah, obviously we're very disappointed. Missed the kick, but too bad to be true, we think, and we're going to have a look at him when he gets home.
There's the beaten connections out of the Mufhasa Classic, and Jane, some other movement around horses going forward.
Just a little bit of news out of the race in terms of horses like Town Crier and El Vencedor, who were both well beaten yesterday. Stewards will follow up with both those stables. They were both vet checked post-race. No abnormalities came up initially, but obviously the stewards will check in with both stables. Spoke to Royden Burgess, and he thought Town Crier probably was just in need of the run with 7 weeks between runs. She'll head to a Zabeel Classic. Now, Pearl of Alsace, they'd like to go back to Trentham for a Thornton Mile with her.
Okay, that's interesting that, especially the Isabel Classic, because we saw in the market, Snazzy Taffy, Campionessa, they'll both go to the Callow Isuzu Stakes at Te Rapa next week before going in. Just a couple of things from more a stats point of view from that race. Ladies Man became the first established Group 1 winner to win that race since Julinski Prince in 2015. So no other, the previous 9 had been all, Group 2 winners or better. And the last 3 winners have all come through Tauranga, and 6 of the last 10 have come through Tauranga, including all the CD horses who have won this race. They've all gone through Tauranga to be leading up into a Captain Cook, or nowadays a TAB Mufhasa Classic.
All right, trainers might be looking at that as an option next year towards the Mufhasa Classic. Thanks for that stat attack, Aidan. Alrighty, let's take a look at some of the rest of the card races on the card from Trentham, starting with the opener on the card, and it was the 2-year-olds, just 4 horses in the field, won by Manakopa Falls from Too Sweet Abacus and My Ferrari, Jane.
Oh, another 2-year-old winner in New Zealand that is not eligible for the Karaka Million, bought out of the Magic Millions Gold Coast National yelling sale for 57,500. Look, this filly was just a consummate professional yesterday. If you watched these horses parade prior to the race, she was the horse you wanted to back. She was the horse you wanted to be on. She was so relaxed, took everything in her stride and handled her debut brilliantly. I thought the first 2 home were both great runs. They both came out of the barriers really well. The favourite, Too Sweet, look, she got to the lead on the rail. I thought she was really brave. She's still a little bit green, particularly coming across the junction. Luke Curry, for a jockey that hadn't ridden Trentham before, I thought he came across the junction brilliantly. He gave her as much help as he could, but she did get a little bit lost. His comments after the race was that she would probably appreciate a bigger field, a little bit of cover and chasing horses home. So Sweet, who is eligible, Too Sweet, who is eligible for a Karaka Million, has gone back to Chris Rutten's farm. We'll spend a few weeks there and be built towards a Karaka Million, probably through an eclipse. The winner will now stay at Royden's place in the Central Districts, and we will see her run in a Wakefield Stakes in 2 weeks' time on Manawatu Cup Day.
Pretty impressive performance, and again, it's a factory, isn't it? The Tiako just keep bringing these 2-year-olds out, but where are the 2-year-olds? So this is a key lead up. It's a $65,000 race, and we're getting 4 horses. Where are the 2-year-olds who want to, start accumulating money to qualify for the Karaka Millions? And we saw, that the other day as well. Just small fields. Where are the 2-year-olds? Yeah,
possibly the only disappointing thing out of the day at Trentham. There was the 3-year-old handicap as well, over 1,400 metres, won by Wingman from Like a Lucy, Only the Lonely, and Valton. Luke Curry, as you mentioned, Jane, comes over and pretty much gets one straight away.
Okay, a horse that I know that the stable have a really high opinion of, Wingman. He was very good when he stepped out on debut. He didn't feature on a heavy track second up. What I like about the way Royden has brought this horse forward is when things went wrong, and I shouldn't say they went wrong, he ran 3rd to a stakes winning filly, but probably didn't race up to their expectations on that heavy surface. He just gave the horse a bit of time, took him back to the trials, and I thought that the race plan was pulled off perfectly. Back from the barriers, a really patient ride by Luke Curry, built momentum down the outside, and has headed what is looking like a really nice filly going forward in Like a Lucy. She had won on debut. I thought that Joe Doyle gave her every opportunity sitting in the 1-1 throughout the run. Did cop a little bit of a bump when Star Shadow pushed out on her at the top of the straight, but she tried really hard, the filly. I think they're both horses that we can follow going forward and even follow up over a little bit more ground. When you look at them physically, they're both quite athletic horses. So we did hear from Royden post-race. He's looking at an NZB Kiwi with Wingman. Like a Lucy, I think we'll head to a eulogy again in 2 weeks' time back at Trentham. Going up to a mile, I think will really suit her.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that form franks up, because for mine, I'm just not 100% sure. I think the winner is potentially a very good horse, but I want to see results post that race to really get an assessment of it. For mine, I'm just a little bit dubious of it.
Alrighty, well that wraps things up from Trentham. A great day there. Track played superbly. Great horses won, and there's plenty to look forward to as well. But we're going to take a quick break here on Weigh In. On the other side, we look at Ellerslie. Welcome back to Weigh In. Great to have you with us. We can now look at Ellerslie from yesterday, and there were some Great racing there, starting with the Bonecrusher Stakes, won impressively by Sethito.
As they come towards a home turn, 450 metres to go in the Bonecrusher Stakes. And the pacemaker Midnight Edition, the favourite Sethito, poised to pounce. 2 lengths away, Sicilian out deeper. Running on, she's untouchable. Further back, Prosegur looking to warm up. Then came Hard Rocker. Further away, then Philly gives a look. Out wide, Unbridled Joy at the 250. Sethito in front. Prosegur's a length and a half away. Battling on, she's untouchable. But it's Sethito. Sethito in front, Prosegur, and battling away also, she's untouchable. But Sethito too good. Sethito goes back to back. The favourite delivers on the Bonecrushers.
You've got the Quinella in the race. Must be pretty satisfying, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, all the team have done a wonderful job with all these fillies, and you know, it's sort of hard trying to watch all 5 to see, you know, how the others went. But certainly the 2 most prominent fillies with form, you know, put their hands up today. So very pleased.
Particularly enjoyed that comment from Lance O'Sullivan. Sort of hard to watch all 5. That pretty much sums up things about Wexford at the moment. We saw Sethito win earlier, but this was a very, very impressive win, Aidan.
Yeah, sure was. Just like you say, though, Guy, haven't they got some depth of 3-year-olds with Wexford at the moment? They Quinella the Group 3, and Sethito was the only one not in the Wexford stable colours too, but it did a very good job. Lovely ride from Sam Spratt. You know, she was positive, got out there outside the leader and finds plenty. Prosegur's come from midfield, and she's untouchable, got into a beautiful position, the 1-1. They ran no speed in this race. Very hard for those horses back in the field to make up ground. The horse who's actually last at this point, Honey Badger, runs the quickest last 800 of the race. But, you know, I think she's got a lot of upside. She'd won her maiden really easily, Jane, and again, she's just stamped her class in this.
She's a beautifully bred filly, isn't she, by Waikato Studs Super Seth. He was a champion first season sire last season. He's certainly gone on with it this season. She's out of a dual Group 1 winning mare in Suavito. 4th stakes winner for Super Seth, so he's doing an incredible job at stud. And look, I think she's certainly a filly worth following. I think she'll head to an 8 carat on Boxing Day now. But you mentioned the depth of the 3-year-olds for Wexford stable, and I read a stat. They've had 17 wins from 53-year-old runners, so that's 34% winning strike rate for their 3-year-olds this season. And they had 5 runners in the field. And I'm on repeat when I say this, because I've said it before about Lance O'Sullivan and Andrew Scott, but the trajectory the stable has been on over the last couple of years is just incredible. And I think that they are selecting the right horses at the sales, selecting the right bloodstock. They're getting the results on the racetrack. And, you know, it's a stable that, and I've said when I left to go to Australia, it was sort of just sitting in a bit of an average spot in terms of New Zealand training ranks. And I've come back and they're literally going like this.
Yeah, when Paul and Dave O'Sullivan were so dominant in New Zealand, then Dave's quit, Paul's gone to Hong Kong. And so what had happened is Lance had basically kept the stable going as a feeder for Hong Kong. And so that was always their focus. Let's get the horses ready, we'll get them to Hong Kong. It's all about just being a feeder. Now they're focusing, without Paul up in Hong Kong, to focus on... So that's my take on it. And they're doing a very, very good job. Got some quality horses around them. Even Prosegur yesterday, that was the quickest last, 600, 400, 200. I thought a really nice run from that filly too.
Who do you go with in the slot race? We talked about it last week. I'm putting you on the spot here, Aidan.
You just got to hold. You know, they've got. I tell you what, they might even have sort of 5 horses in the race. There might be other people coming to them and saying, you know, wouldn't it be? We did joke about it. Tiaka, I've got a slot. One's a Tiaka, don't have a good enough 3-year-old. I have to go to Wexford and pick up.
I cannot see that happening, Aidan.
I can't see it happening either, but you can just see the irony.
Alrighty, well, it was a superb race, and obviously we've heard from Lance O'Sullivan. We can hear from the Beaten Connection, starting with Masa Hashizumi on Prosegur.
Oh, she's huge. She's ready to go a mile now, and yeah, she'll be hard to beat over a mile. Yeah, good.
Super effort. She defied her odds. She jumped clean, and it was a race what probably suited the winner. They went slow and sprinted, but she had every chance. I was very happy with her effort. So she's going to be a lot better next prep, and nice horse to follow.
It was a nice step up from maiden grade. He settled well and shot through the gap like he was going to do something, but she's probably a little bit fresh today, on the fresher side. He'll improve with the run, but he'll go through the 3-year-old ranks quite nicely.
First time around Ellerslie, he actually went really good. I'd say over a mile this horse will be quite impressive.
Yeah, look, I had a good enough spot. I'm just not a... Look, it's a hard one whether he's a firm track horse or a wet track horse.
Well, that was the beaten connections from the impressive 3-year-old race. There were some good sprinters going around yesterday as well in the Concorde Stakes. That was won by Babylon Berlin.
350 to go in the Concorde. It's Babylon Berlin, the leader. Bonnie Lass a length and a half away. 2 lengths away. Crescetti starting to wind up now. Out wide, G. Butterfield's going a cheeky race. It's Babylon Berlin, though. At the 150, she's 2 clear from Crescetti coming after her. And behind them, White Tack is storming home. Babylon Berlin. White Tack is charging from back in the field, but Babylon Berlin won it.
How satisfying is that, though, Ben?
Yeah, really satisfying, to be honest. It was a super ride by Vinny. He sort of rode too well, and we knew coming into this race, she loves Ellerslie, you know, with that set weights and penalties, that everything suited. So yeah, over the moon. She's been a grand old mare, you know, so it'd be great if we could get that group on one day.
Vinny, super ride. You've been able to really dictate with her, and you had to have the horsepower, but she was there for you today.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, she felt well going down to the start. She gave me a good start, and my intentions were always to lead. Big drop from last start, down to 54, 5 kilo drop. Yeah, I really can't believe the acceleration she gave me turning for home. And sustainable. Obviously, White Tack must have hit the line strong, but we got there.
You didn't hear him coming at you?
Oh, I can feel him coming, but yeah, definitely feel him.
So yeah, Babylon Berlin from White Tack, Crescetti and Sacred Setono, Aidan. Really good ride from Vinnie Colgan out in front, as we always see her do. Now 10 wins in her career, and this campaign she's looking as good as ever.
Yeah, they got the plan right. She was just in the right spot for that race. I had her clearly on top. Thought she was clearly the horse to beat because she's dropping to 54 kilograms. You know, they'd come out of that the Counties Bowl, and here she was dropping 5 kilograms. I thought she was just beautifully placed in this race. Small field, she was going to get to the front and will be hard to beat. Now, that's not saying that she's a horse to beat going forward, because I think, you know, there's going to be other horses out of this race who are going to be better placed under weight for age conditions of a Telegraph and things. Yeah, it was interestingly run. Obviously, no real intent from Crescetti to hold up. Bonnie Lass was able to cross her very easily, and then Babylon Berlin was able to cross there. The hard run to watch was Sacred Setono, just posted 3 wide. Jeez, he's a beautiful horse. And one thing I love about him, Jane, and you'll notice this, just the way he thrusts his neck out in the closing stages, like he really, like a sprinter thrusting their chest out. Just watch him in the closing stages, because he's amazing the way he does that.
And it's incredible how he gets his head down and he gets himself in a really low galloping position and pokes his nose out. I have made mention of it before, the way that he can find the line. I thought it was a really brave effort, considering he was posted 3 wide. Crescetti, I thought, had a really nice run in transit, presented at the right time, just couldn't quite pick up the leader. Bonnie Lass, which you can probably speak a little bit to, Aidan, but she's pulled up with mucus in the trachea, so it has some inflammation in upper airway, so there's some excuses there for her yesterday.
She's only been beaten 2 lengths, and she's been given the winner 2 kilograms, so I don't think it's that bad a run. But then they've gone and said, you know, maybe it's just not quite like her, because she did go up and eyeball Babylon Berlin, and you know Bonnie Lass, you know, she fights and will normally come out on top in that situation. But yeah, Graham Richardson obviously thought something's got up. He went back, scoped her, and straight away afterwards, and found it was a messy scope, which is, you know, it's good for connections, because they know that they've got an excuse. But I didn't think the run was too bad. It was roughly what I'd expected of her anyhow. I think she'll be better, you know, especially when you get her up to weight for age. Interesting now, isn't it, with the change of the programming. You know, we get Railway back into Karaka Million Day, and of course the Telegraph at Trentham on the 4th of January. So it is different, and of course then we've got different conditions as well. Weight for age for the Telegraph. White Tack was excellent. You know, it's close in the quickest last, 8, 6, 4 and 2, and probably now becomes, you know, the horse to beat at Telegraph, which is normally a race that does play more to the 1400 metre horses.
I think in terms of a comment you made at the beginning of the show and the sprinting ranks, I think the program now sets up really well for them, and what we do have is a number of really talented sprinters that are going to be targeting the races. So I think it bodes well for New Zealand racing to have strong, competitive, sprinting races.
And I'll tell you what, Sacred Sethito is going to be hard to beat wherever he goes. Now, he's the horse that I've got my eye on. He's one that I think is really progressive. I think his timing is just about now.
There is a question I wanted to ask you about YTAC that Andrew Scott mentioned in a comment afterwards, but let's hear from the beaten connections first, starting again with Masa Hashizumi on YTAC.
Oh, he's running huge. Just needed one more stride, but yeah, he's going huge, so he's gonna go good on at the Wellington, hopefully.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Look, obviously we would have liked to win on him, but he sort of ranged up to him quite easily and then just sort of shy away and just became a bit dour the last bit. And when YTAC came and he saw him, he rallied back again. So he could be also, we might think of putting winkers or even blinkers on him, and we'll get some improvement from him there.
Look, he's jumped well, got a nice position just behind the leaders off the pace. He didn't really handle the bend all too well, switched onto the wrong leg, sort of coming around to the own bend, but look, after going 100 metres off the bend, he's straightened up and he's run on all the way to the line. So I'm sure he bounced back. Thank you.
A really good run. She was strong through the line. Touch short of her best today. She broke away well today, and it's not good for her. Like she doesn't really break away well. So that was a good run, good effort. Up against some top class horses too. So no, happy with her.
Yeah, look, very disappointing. She jumped clean. We enjoyed a nice run outside the leader, and she travelled lovely for me, but failed to let down in the straight. Track's getting firm. I feel like maybe she's looking for a track we give as an older mare, but the run she had, I would expect a lot more.
That was the beaten connections out of the Concorde, and Jane, I alluded to it before we threw to that. Well, I thought it was an interesting comment from Andrew Scott, I think it was, around YTAC, saying that they've been doing a bit of dressage and show jumping with him. How common is that, and what benefits do they get out of that?
I think it's becoming a lot more common in terms of the way people are training racehorses nowadays, in making sure their training regimes are varied. And look, there's a number of reasons why you would jump a horse. A lot of trainers in the past have used that as a way to sharpen a horse up and freshen their mind up, and dressage probably offers a little bit more. I think Chris Waller's one in recent times that has been using dressage a lot with his horses. But what dressage does is it allows a horse to obviously, again, refresh their minds, or freshen their minds, I should say, in doing something different. It means that they have to listen to their rider a little bit more in terms of the aids that a rider is giving them. It keeps a horse really supple, because when a horse is using their body correctly, when you're riding them correctly in dressage, it means that they're working all their muscles correctly in their body because they're holding themselves correctly. So using dressage is a great way to keep a horse's body supple, and also to keep them fit and to keep their mind, you know, where it needs to be. And look, I think even as a human...
You're just pointing at me.
Actually, what I was going to say is, even as humans, we use things like yoga and Pilates, and you've spoken about Michael McNabb using Pilates as a rider. Well, those same things that humans use in training translate beautifully to the same way horses train in as a racehorse. They're athletes at the end of the day. So we do see more of it nowadays, but I think it's great that trainers are using different tools and getting their horses prepared for race day.
A lot of those horses, they're in the same routine all the time. They just start to go stale. They know what they're expecting, and the variation just does get them sort of moving.
When a horse trains in a circle, they're loading their body a certain way when they're training because of the direction, and obviously because they do it all the time, they build a bit of resistance to that loading. But by taking a horse into a dressage ring, it means that you can try and produce a horse that's completely supple right round and using their body correctly, using all their muscles correctly, and building their muscles in the right way.
Well, Pilates is obviously doing wonders for you, Aidan, looking fantastic. So from the Concorde, we can take a look at the market, I think, for the Telegraph coming up at Trentham. And Grail Seeker, the current favourite there at $4. Luberon, very impressive the other week there at $6, alongside YTAC, Crescetti and Babylon Berlin at 8s. Aidan, anything stand out for you?
One thing, I just wouldn't be dropping Crochetti anytime soon. He's just a winner. He's a terrific horse. I don't think we'll see recommendation here, will we? Yeah.
Recommendation going around to Hong Kong tomorrow, so doubtful that he'll make a trip out to New Zealand.
But we've got some top end. Look at, Luberon has just stamped herself. Counties Bowl, Little win, both very good. Grail Seeker with a Tarzino. We've just got that real depth there, and if they all turn up to a Telegraph and to a Railway, we've got some really exciting sprint racing ahead of us.
The other decent race on the card out of Ellerslie was the Open 2100. This was won by Son of Sun from out of stock, Teramatika and Blue Moon. Ashvin Govindasammy never really had to get him to do too much in the end. He won pretty comfortably, Aidan.
Yeah, just able to sit outside the leader, and in the end, Ashvin was really soft on a horse who just seems to be getting better and better. Grant Cooksley saying after the race that they would be backing up next Saturday into the Sky City Waikato Cup. Which really should be another terrific day of racing. Geez, we've got some very good racing ahead of us. I thought Out of Stock was one to watch out of this race. Got home with the quickest closing sectionals. Wolfgang was actually okay too. Was the second quickest closing sectionals. Now probably heads towards the Queen Elizabeth Stakes.
Yes. Only point I really want to make about the race is just watching these staying races being run at such slow early sectionals I find really frustrating. If you want to find the best stayer in a race, it's got to be a truly run race, and we saw it a number of times yesterday where it was pretty pedestrian, some of the early furlongs in racing, and I guess as you say there's a number of horses that you can watch out of that race because we did see some horses make up ground off of a really slow pace.
One of those things, just to maybe combat that a little bit, it was just small fields. We saw it at Trentham yesterday, we saw it at Ellerslie yesterday. I think when we get to, like the Counties Cup, for example, we saw a really good and truly run race. I think we'll see that again with a full field, hopefully.
We just don't know in the Waikato Cup. No, it shouldn't. To have a race run at a genuine tempo, though.
But then, obviously, these are the races that they are preparing for the big races out of, and you sort of don't maybe want to be using all your pennies in a lead-up race to get to. But I take your point, Jane, for sure.
This is why you watch Weigh-In, all the insight into Pilates, into all sorts of things, dressage, and some good debate as well. Alrighty, we're going to take a break here on Weigh-In. On the other side, we'll head across the Tasman. I live with the birds and bees. They show me all the tricks that I got on my sleeve. It's a prophecy. It's a prophecy. And there is no time for your precious crime. Oh, that you gotta run and hide from. Oh, won't you please come home for Christmas? Come on home for Christmas, babe. Come on home for Christmas.
Lady in Pink coming out of the pack, Aerosol next, and they'll follow by Poison Chalice, Future History, Barclay Square down the outside. Lady in Pink, the mare of the race, going up to Globe. Globe not lying down. Barclay Square's coming. Barclay Square's lifting out of the ground. Barclay Square did it. Ballarat won't be sleeping tonight. It's a hometown cup. Dan O'Sullivan, well done. Jaylah Kennedy entrusted with this important ride. The horse coming back in distance.
It's bloody brilliant. It's great. For lots of reasons, just for the horse, for Jaylah, for this. A lot of support here today. We backed the horse and we backed ourselves to back him up and get the job done. This girl's done a great job riding work, and see the other ones at home. Damo, who's here today, we do a lot of miles walking around and keeping him happy. So it's just a big thrill and big relief.
Jaylah Kennedy joins us after riding Barclay Square, her favourite horse, to win the Ballarat Cup. How are you?
Oh my God, honestly, I can't believe it. Obviously, condolences to Luke. He was meant to be aboard today, and I'm just so thankful that I was given the opportunity to get on him today.
What do you love about him?
Everything. He's just so easy to deal with at home. He's got the biggest personality, and obviously he was quite sick as a young horse, so he was handled a lot, and he's very cuddly, and I just love him. He's like a big teddy bear.
Oh, won't you come on home for Christmas, babe? Come on home for Christmas. Come on home for Christmas. Yeah, well done to you, Jaylah Kennedy. As mentioned, she wasn't meant to be on the horse, Aidan. Luke Nolan suffered a fall. He was initially on the horse, suffered a fall at Geelong during the week. Jaylah jumps on, had ridden Barclay Square, I think, the first 6 races of this campaign. jumps on and gets one of the most important wins of her career.
Yeah, the Otago girl done good, isn't it? Hasn't she done a great job over there? And of course, apprentice to Dan, and Dan's been such a great supporter of her. Did ring Terry this morning and just say congrats, and obviously they watched it at home. And with real pride, they're just delighted with the way she's going. One thing he said, they might try and get her home for the big day. They've got like $1 million day down there at the beginning of March, White Robe Lodge, ODT Mile Final, like a whole lot of really good races down there. And just be a nice day for Jaylah to come home. Wouldn't it be great to see her ride in New Zealand? But Jane, you've watched her sort of development. Hasn't she just made great strides?
Yeah, she has. She's done a wonderful job in her short career thus far in Australia. She picked up her 100th win of her career yesterday, her first stakes victory in the saddle, and on a horse that she's had a really close association with. Before we even saw her in the saddle as an apprentice, she was strapping Berkeley Square at the races. So she's come a long way, but what Jaylah has is an incredible personality and a lot of character, and she's really well liked, you know, amongst the trainers and the jockeys in Australia. So she's done a wonderful job. But look, Berkeley Square, he is a good horse. We saw him step out. He is huge. He's about 17 hands. He's this big, rangy horse who stepped out and had his first race as a 2-year-old and won on debut. And every preparation subsequently he's run at stakes level. He's been a really promising horse. Probably needed a little bit of extra time to grow into his big frame, but he's had a really good prep this time round. He's provided Jaylah with wins at Metropolitan level, and she's been placed at stakes level prior to yesterday when they were able to get their win, and the perfect day to do it, Ballarat Cup day. And the locals really support the Ballarat Cup. A lot of the trainers have marquees there and have their owners there, and they have big celebrations. So I'm sure the celebrations at Ballarat were pretty big into the night yesterday.
Yeah, I was about to say to anyone watching the show from Ballarat, I hope the heads are okay this morning. There was a Group 1 over in Australia as well, out west in Perth. This was the Northerly Stakes, won by Light Infantryman.
Looking for the way clear, Bustlers behind them from Let's Gallivant. Storyville cuts the corner. Down the outside, Numerian Attrition, and then Admiration Express, Sox Nation. Light Infantryman storms to the lead at the 200. Light Infantryman races clear. Admiration Express is charging at the rate of knots. Light Infantryman's in front, and he'll cling on to win the Northerly. Light Infantryman beat Admiration Express.
What a feeling. Light Infantryman, he was the beaten favourite last week, but he's certainly bounced back today.
Yeah, things actually went to plan. It was to go out, be positive. His asset is a high cruising speed, and that's what he showed today, and that's what he used. And look, the horse done a very good job today.
Had to give up a couple of nice ones at Ballarat. They offered me the ride. It was a tough decision to make. I spoke to James myself, and he was adamant that it probably should have won the other day, which it did look like that. Drawing out today really helped us. He was able just to lob in a beautiful spot. We were able to control the race, and that's what he wanted, just a flowing ride, and he showed his true colours.
Ethan Brown there after the win on Light Infantryman. That's Ethan Brown's 6th Group 1 win, Jane, and 5 of them have come on Karen Maher trained horses.
Yeah, we've spoken about Ethan Brown on the show previously, the fact that he obviously suffered from some pretty serious injuries off the back of a fall, and it's taken him a little while to get his momentum back in terms of getting back in the saddle, but it's no doubt he's an incredibly talented rider. It was actually Karen Maher's first Group 1 win over in Perth as a trainer, and the Eastern Statesmen have made a clean sweep of the Group 1s over in Perth this year, which is quite rare as well. Light Infantryman, of course, he was a European import previously with David Simcock in the UK. He'd run at Group 1 level on a number of occasions over there and had been Group 1 placed 3 times, including a Queen Anne at Royal Ascot. So when he came to Australia, he actually came with a little bit of a reputation, and it has taken him a little while to find his feet. We do find that with the imports when they head to Australia. Sometimes they take a preparation to really find their feet, but he was very good through the Flemington Carnival, winning the Chester Manifold, and he's now backed that up by picking up Group 1 in Perth. So the race was won in the first 400 metres with the positive ride out of the barrier from Ethan Brown.
It was Light Infantryman from Admiration Express, Sox Nation and Bustler. We're going to get to a break shortly, but before we do, some news in the last 48 hours or so around the Canterbury Jockey Club and the NZB Kiwi, Aidan. They've confirmed, this is the Canterbury Jockey Club, for their slot, that Domain Ace will run in their slot for the Kiwi.
Yeah, I'd spoken to Graham Rogerson last week, and I knew this was in the offing. Obviously, both winners are looking elsewhere, runner-ups I think were ineligible. So, and obviously the Canterbury Jockey Club were keen to use someone out of the 1,000 or 2,000 guineas as their slot. Graham and Debbie were just thinking, maybe this horse could yet be a Derby horse, but obviously they've agreed to be looking at the 1,500 metre race. Really good run at the 2,000 guineas. It's now going to be how he stacks up in this, because he's long in this market, Guy.
Very long in the market, not even on that page at the moment. Obviously, there's still so much to play out here. A bunch of horses there at $8 at the top of the market. There we can see Domain Ace with the S next to his name confirmed there. Open at 26 now into 18s after that confirmation that he will indeed run in the NZB Kiwi. Alrighty, we're going to take a quick break here on weigh-in. Before we do that, we can take you to Hong Kong where Emily caught up with James McDonald as he was awarded his Jockey of the Year title.
I know for a fact that that we're so well loved in the racing community over there, and we have so much support, which I'm extremely grateful for. From the humble beginnings of decent milking cows, and now obviously on the world's biggest stage, I can't do it without basically where I started, and that's from a 10-year-old boy riding around a Kaipaki track. It's pretty crazy. So I thank everyone that's been part of my journey.
You mentioned it meant more this time. Explain that to me.
Just due to the fact that the first year was probably a little bit of a blur, and it's hard. It's a hard thing to repeat something that you've already done in the past. I suppose I know Brian does it 4 and 5 times, and Frankie does, but safely say I'm extremely proud of my year. I didn't believe it would ever happen after 22. I just didn't think it was possible to better that, but it's been a pretty cool season.
An incredible evening here at the gala celebrating the world's best jockey in New Zealander James McDonald. You can see what it means to him to have achieved this accolade for a second time. He's so proud of what he's done for his country, and I'm sure all racing fans at home are so proud of him too. An incredible evening here in Hong Kong. From humble beginnings in the central districts of New Zealand with Fraser Aurette, Ying Rising has had a very quick rise to fame. And on Sunday, he eyes off his biggest prize to date, an international Group 1 sprint. We caught up with David Hayes and Zach Purton to find out more about the sprinting star.
I don't think you expect to go from a maiden to the highest rated horse in the sprinting division in the world. I couldn't have predicted that, but he's a natural horse, very willing, and he's just getting better with racing. Each time I shake my head with the ease he's been winning.
But it's a winning debut for Ying Rising, and he bolts in. Ying Rising is going to be too good for them, but Ying Rising, he's put a gap on them. Helios Express, how deep is your love? Zach salutes, that's rare, he easing down. We'll see you in December, Ying Rising special.
People that know me know that I don't salute. Like it's very rare for me to do something like that. I'm usually pretty cool, calm and collected, and I didn't have any preconceived ideas going into the race, and I certainly didn't think I'd do something like that, but I don't know, the tracking camera was there, and it's the first time it's been there, and having gone close to breaking the track record the start before, and I knew we'd gone out hard, I knew we'd run mid-race, and the track that day was riding fast, and yeah, I don't know why I did it, but obviously looking back now, I'm glad that I did, because it's an iconic moment and it's something that everyone's talking about. And every time I see that photo and that footage, it does, I think it sums up the moment well. I didn't really know David until he come back to Hong Kong. To be honest, he's brought a lot of fun back to Hong Kong, and anyone that knows David knows that that's his personality and that's what he's like. He's a genuinely funny person. He's really good to be around.
Oh, Zach and I have a lot of fun, a lot of banter, but he sort of, I couldn't have him in better hands. I've barred him Tuesday, rode him his final gallop. I said, give him a kiss and see you Sunday. But I think Zach's deep down really looking forward to the weekend, and so am I. So let's hope that he doesn't let everyone down, but if with ordinary luck, he should have this field covered.
You talk about him settling and being able to make his own luck. From barrier 11 on Sunday, how do you see things unfolding?
Well, it's not ideal, is it? I was hoping to draw a little bit better than that. Fortunately, a little bit of the speed is drawn outside of me, so if I need to use them to come across and get some cover, then I have that option, but there are a couple of horses that have drawn inside me that can make it a little bit tricky and a little bit hard to get a nice position, so you know, that's my job to work that out once the gate's open.
He doesn't look like a big hulking sprinter, but he eats up as good as any horse in the stable. Everyone that rides him, they say he gets a little bit jig-joggy going on the track, but once you drop over his neck, he's got a mouth of butter. He's lovely and quiet, and so for a high-grade sprinter, he's a very relaxed horse once he gets into his work, and I think that's what makes him a bit special.
I galloped him earlier in the week. I did his last piece of work on him, and to be honest, he feels great. Like his action's just getting better and better all the time. He's starting to feel like he's floating across the ground, which is an odd feeling with a horse because they're such big animals and they take such big strides, which is a good feeling, and it gives me a lot of confidence.
When working with him, the ease he does things, I can see why he's a very good horse, but he hasn't really earned the champion tag yet, but I think he has the potential to be one.
Emily in her element, great to see with a superstar there, and Ying Rising. All those races, the Hong Kong Sprint, Mile, Cup and Vase, of course, live here on Trackside 1. BP will take you through the evening, and even better, if you want to watch uninterrupted coverage of everything out of Hong Kong, you can do that on trackside.co.nz. Be tuning in from 4:55, a massive evening of racing coming up here on Trackside. It's a pleasure to bring it to you. Alrighty, well that is looking ahead, but we've got to kind of look back at the week and our moments of the week. Aidan, I'll go to you first.
Well, they sent me to Cromwell. I haven't been to Cromwell. The last time I was there, I think it was in the mid-90s. I just went because I was fruit picking in Alexandra at the time. So I picked out this. We put a couple of jockeys on the bill. There's Rupert Jean and Ulrika Holmquist, of course, a couple of imported jockeys, but they played along and it was great fun. One thing, this is part of country racing, and it is the fabric of New Zealand racing. So many young people going along to honestly, I haven't seen that many young people at a racecourse ever, and it was a party scene. It got a little bit colourful later on, but it was a pretty cool day, I got to say.
I will take your point, Aidan, that those carnivals down south, they're really great carnivals to be part of and over the summertime. So I will take your point about the crowds and getting to Cromwell, but of all the things that have happened in racing this week and the good performances we've seen on the track, you pick a jockey sitting on a bull. I
did get a Quinella in a Group 1 race as a jockey's agent yesterday, which was pretty cool, but I thought I'd just bypass that.
Oh, I love it. Jane, yours and my moment of the week, I think, are the same.
Yeah, look, I think one of the best moments throughout the week was at New Plymouth on Thursday. Yeah, of course you can. Just jump on board, Aidan. Jump on board, because Lisa Latter was back in the saddle riding winners. Allpress, was back in the saddle riding winners. She obviously had that terrible fall, suffered from concussion. Guy, you'll be able to speak about the story a little bit more because you went down and interviewed her. But I just think it's fantastic that she's back, that she's riding winners. She's got a target of 2,000 winners to hit. I hope that we're celebrating that on weigh-in very soon.
Yeah, and won back-to-back races as soon as she got back in the saddle, so that 2,000 might roll around pretty quickly. Yeah, I loved that, and heard from her before those races, and she was so excited about getting back in the saddle. So well done to you, Lisa. Stoked for you. Alrighty, our Weight Watchers now. Time to look back at some runners that we think might go all right. Aidan, I'll come to you again.
Just going through the sectionals out of that first race at Ellerslie yesterday. Out of stock was terrific, and we know he's a good horse. He's a Group 3 Manawatu Classic winner, and he hit the line beautifully in behind Son of Sun. I thought this was a terrific trial. Chad Ormsby saying possibly a Dunstan Feeds Championship final for this horse. You know, he's already a Group winner. He's going to be very hard to beat, and Chad Ormsby's doing a decent job. Jaylah, is he your theme as well?
Yeah, look, I am going to be a little bit greedy. The one I've gone with is Beast of Burden yesterday at Trentham for Chad Ormsby. Look, jumped from a wide barrier, did have cover sitting wide. The jockey elected to tuck back inside, and look, I think had she just continued to sit in that wide train and be able to peel out at the top of the straight and build momentum, I think he would have got really close to winning. But look, I think given that he was held up between the 350 and the 250, and to get that close suggests that he's a horse to certainly watch next time he goes to the races. I think he can go really close. But I thought there were a number of horses that you could follow out of that program at Trentham yesterday, and I just want to touch really quickly on a couple of them. Platinum Attack in the last race I thought was enormous. Run 106.84 for the 1200 out of the chute at Trentham. Boxana holds the record at 106.51, so you're getting pretty close to a track record. You're flying. You can be really competitive in a Telegraph running times like that at Trentham. And the other one is a maiden of Robbie Patterson's called Last Souvenir, who run the fastest last closing sectionals on debut behind she's she ran the filly that placed in the Bonecrusher, run third in the Bonecrusher yesterday. Her name just escapes me. But I think the same thing potentially when the sectionals come out tomorrow. I think he's probably run the fastest closing sectionals of the race yesterday. And he's certainly a horse to follow. He's a maidener. He can run in a maiden race.
Untouchable.
She's untouchable.
That's exactly the same thing.
She's untouchable.
And I was with a little bit of a Chad as well, Chad Schofield, who was riding Bestower. I never thought I'd black book benchmark 72 from Rose Hill. But this is Bestower out the back, missed the jump by about 10 lengths. Not the first time it has missed the start before. But look at this. And Darren Flindell in the call gave it the big, well, if it wins from here, it'll be on the 6 o'clock news. And if we just watch Bestower charging home down the straight here. Greg O'Connor and I were in studio going, well, this thing's absolutely no chance, along with Darren Flindell, as I mentioned. Watch it power home from here. As I say, 8 to 10 lengths last, and just charges home to finish about a half a length or even less than that. Second in the benchmark 72 here at Rose Hill. Reading the steward's report has now been spelled, so maybe not the best black booker because you're going to have to wait a while, and has to trial to satisfy the stewards. But wow, what a run! So chuck it in your long-term black book, I reckon. And if you're watching the Australian races, yeah, just look out for it, I would say. That is all we've got time for here on Weigh In. Thanks, team, for joining us. Aidan, look forward to you being at Te Rapa next week for Waikato Cup Day. Great week. Of course, tune in to the Gearin Report tomorrow night, and make sure you are watching Trackside and trackside.co.nz for all that phenomenal Hong Kong racing tonight. Thanks for joining us. Be back next week.
Pretty brown, got me weak in the knees. Slow up, you hold me down, I'm readjusting my speed. I've been gone too long, baby doll, don't leave, okay, I'm mash. Put up on the gas, running up membership.
White Tech is charging from back in the field, but Babylon Berlin won it. Sethito too good. Sethito goes back to back. The favourite delivers in the Bonecrusher.